Bad.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside this guy over here, Emilio. We got Jacob in Wisconsin, ready to talk some Packers. I told Jacob before we went live, I said, man, I rolled over and went, oh, no, I kind of wish I was dead. It was bad, Jacob. The cannoli hangover is real, as Christian said in the chat. But how you doing, man?
Man, I got to tell you, I'm not trying to brag here, but I at the last minute, I couldn't go to the draft. But I tell you what, I woke up around 6 o'clock, went to the gym, got a tan in, ate some breakfast, did some Matthew Golden highlights. All I know Emilio has done has been crop dust in that place. So,
Jacob, I cannot believe you just said I got a tan in after I got a couple of deadlifts in, got a tan
DTL,
in,
baby, gym tan laundry. Let's go.
Unbelievable.
What a show.
We're off to a roaring start, obviously. So hopefully everybody in the chat's having a great morning. Get that coffee in. It's actually Friday, right? I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, okay, it's Friday. So whether you guys are out there on the grind or called in slick, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. If you would hit that like on the way in. And we're going to talk just really first round. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Matthew Golden pick a little bit and kind of everybody had a chance to sleep on it. I'm very excited about the pick. I ain't going to lie. It's just hearing people, Dan Orlovsky, talk about it and others. It's cool to everybody kind of step back and see it and go, you know what? This could be one of those connections. Jordan Love to Matthew Golden could be a great connection for a very long time, you know. And we talked about Matthew Golden quite a bit in the draft process. He was higher on our board. He sank out a little bit into the 30s. And we talked, I mean, literally before the pick last night, we were talking about it. It seems like every year we look up and go, okay, here's our best prospects. And there's a guy that's a tier or two down on our board that Goody goes and grabs. And it's obvious that Matthew Golden was that dude. So we'll dive into all of it. Obviously, we got Tim joining us now. I apologize for the lighting. We're doing the best we can, but with the windows behind us, it just kind of washes everything out. But we're trying to get a little bit better with the sound, too. You know, when we get back home, Jacob, everything's going to be back to normal, right? So we appreciate everybody obviously putting up with the lack of sound quality in the meantime. But, Emilio, how you doing this morning, man? You feel okay?
I'm feeling good. Yeah. I got an 8-hour nap in. I'm ready to roll, man. I'm in good shape. I'm pretty excited. I was diving through some of the tweets. I still want to go back and listen to Goody's presser, but that was 20 minutes right there. So I mean, you know, you get some nuggets out of that. But I'm just glad that everyone will be happy. We got him a wide receiver in the first round, and as long as he performs perfectly, no one's going to be mad, right? So
never drops a pass.
Yeah.
2,000 yards receiving per year. Will be great, man.
That's a really good way to look at it. Proper expectations.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It was funny seeing some of the personalities on Twitter that were anti-Matthew Golden just right off the bat. And it's like, I'm not going to specifically mention any names, but what kind of ego do you have to have? I mean, I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm not doing the spiel, but like I try to put myself in other people's shoes. I feel like we do a lot of research. We watch a lot of film on this show. We break down film, all those things. And what kind of ego do you have to see an NFL general manager make a draft pick, whether you agree with it or not, and just go, God, what a horrible pick. Like, this idiot, how could he not see that this was a bad pick? Like, I don't relate. You know what I'm saying, Jacob? Like,
I mean, I do, but to be fair, you don't do this for a living, Clay. I mean,
there you go. And I understand fans getting emotional about it. I got you. I understand that. But when you're a host and you, let me tell you, I know I'm sitting in my little nook here with my,
bookshelf.
Yeah, with my bookshelf. Let me see the books I read. This Brian Gutekunst, he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't watch tape like that. What are we doing? I just don't get it. But anyway, this should be a happy time. I just wanted to mention that if I ever get to that point throughout this whole process,
I'm gonna smack
somebody
you.
slap the hell out of me.
Absolutely.
What are you talking about? So Emilio said he would gladly do that.
Absolutely. Speaking of a good time, Bill DeMuth, appreciate you joining, bro. He said right here, Clay, thanks for the awesome day one draft coverage. As a Packers owner and former Wisconsin resident, now living in Kentucky, I truly appreciate everything you guys do. Glad to be a part of the PTA family.
Awesome. Hey, Bill, thank you for being a part of it.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. For sure. That's what it's all about. And again, I don't want fans to feel like they can't have an opinion. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about the people that put themselves on that pedestal because they've got a platform and they've convinced themselves they're smarter than everybody else. So, Bill, people like you, man, that's why we do what we do. It's just so cool connecting with fellow fans. Oh, we got Tim in here. Tim, can you hear us, sir? Are you alive?
Nope. I can hear you a little bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah, you sound great, Tim. I apologize, man. We're trying to speak up, but you know the setup over here, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right,
just waking up from a golden evening. We'll just say that.
See what he did there.
Yeah, I see exactly what you did there.
Tim, what are your thoughts? Can you give us just real quick what your recap is? I know it was kind of in the moment. If you're like me, I was kind of shocked, but what are you thinking now?
I was shocked, but pleasantly surprised. We'll put it that way. And I still think we're going to get a 3-tech in this draft. I think we're going to pick up a corner in this draft. So yeah, surprised, shocked a little bit, but arguably the best wideout in the 2025 NFL draft. And he's a Packer. So a lot to be happy about this morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Tim. Going back and seeing like where Dane Brugler had him at number 2. You know, we had him. I don't even know exactly what we had Golden in terms of wide receiver. We had him as the 4th best, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, totally good with it. There was 3 wide receivers taken, right? He was the 3rd. Like where they took him. It's not a huge reach, but seeing Dane Brugler have him at number 2 was like, dang. And obviously Dane Brugler's rankings are baked into what we had on our big board as well. Yep. But there were also other people that chimed in on it too. Why don't let's do this. Let's kick everything off real quick. Let me put a screen grab up here. We're going to play. Now, this is a little bit longer. It's about 2.5 minutes long. Okay. But this was the whole process. Like Jacob said, look, we're a Packers podcast. I was like, man, this might be a little too long to play. He's like, no, we're a Packers podcast. Like, we just got the next first-round pick for the Green Bay Packers. Let's take a minute and actually enjoy it, right? So this was on stage last night, the entire announcing of the pick, okay? And it may be a little loud, so be ready to turn your volume down a little bit. I don't want to blow anybody's eardrums out if you're at work and listening there with maybe earbuds. But let me get this set up. Here,
this receiving is tough.
Here was Roger Goodell kind of making the announcement, and of course, Mark Murphy coming up on stage. I think it's absolutely awesome. He was the one to announce the pick. And this Clay Matthews grab, Tim, if I ever delete this one, you slap me, okay? We got to have this one for forever. So here we go. Here's the entire process of the announcing of the pick last night for Matthew Golden.
Okay, Green Bay, it's your time. To make this historic pick, please give it up for first-team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and Packers President and CEO, Mark Murphy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Roger. How about this atmosphere? Isn't it unbelievable? Roger, thank you and the NFL for bringing the draft here to Green Bay for the best draft in the history of the NFL, right here. On behalf of the Packers, Packer fans here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and everywhere, because our fans are everywhere, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the NFL Draft at Lambeau Field. It is our honor and privilege to host this wonderful event in our community, particularly since we are the only community-owned team in the NFL. Just out of curiosity, how many of you are owners? Yes. We also have the best owners in the NFL.
Damn right, Mark.
Mm-hmm. And we also want to celebrate the special connection we have with our fans that dates back to the early days of professional football. With the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers for the first time since 2002,
draft
a wide receiver.
Listen to this crowd. Oh, baby.
Matthew Golden, wide receiver of Texas.
And he's here. And he's here. I'll tell you what, timing is everything. You wait till the draft is in Green Bay. You go get a man for the green and gold named Golden. You can't script this any better. Everybody in this entire crowd wanted a wide receiver, Rich, and they came through for him. Listen to this crowd.
Talk. All right, so there you go, man. Again, just an awesome moment. Like Jacob said, we were talking about showing that or playing it rather. He was like, Clay, we didn't really get to see it live. We had the TVs muted. We couldn't, trying to do live streams. So just absolutely awesome. Bates with the super chat says, what an awesome thing for Mark to get to do as he closes the end of his tenure. Great stuff. Completely agree, man. Yep. I talked about it yesterday, Emilio, as I was walking around. It's like, all I could think about was thank God for Mark Murphy. Like, I really don't believe, does advancement happen at Titletown? Yeah, absolutely. But does it go to that level? I don't think it does without Mark Murphy. And Bob Harlan kind of setting the stage and mentoring Mark Murphy and putting him in position while Bob Harlan kind of steps back into the shadow a little bit, but it's there to bounce ideas off of. And now, obviously, with Mark Murphy's time coming up, to be able to host a draft, and then announce the wide receiver pick, just something feels special in Green Bay this year.
Dude, I got chills listening to it. That's what I think Terrell Lee was saying. I mean, being able to hear it, like you said, we didn't get to listen to it live, but just unbelievable. The crowd was going crazy. I'm excited to see what they're saying when we go in there today. You know what I mean? Like, we got our guy. Like, I'm sure there's going to be golden jerseys already. Like, people are already going to be wearing them. They're going to go right into the pro shop. Let me get a customized golden one really fast, and I'm putting it on, and we're heading in there. So, yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Definitely. What about you, Jacob?
Oh man, I'm just real quick. Chris the Casual N asked an important question. I'm interested. What number is Golden going to take? I mean, that's a fun thing to talk about. I know he wore 2 at Texas. I wonder if Mason Crosby would be happy enough to let him wear that deuce. You know what I mean?
We were talking about that. With Malik Willis being number 2. You know what I mean? It's like, does he give that up to the receiver, or does I think we all agree. I don't know if I like 82. You know what I mean, Jacob? 82 is kind of.
I don't see him in a 80 jersey. Like, now ever since Quay started wearing 7, I'm like, I want these guys wearing. I want to see him in like in double zeros or something. You know what I mean? Like, just something off the wall. Honestly, initially when the pick came through, I was just emotionless because I was like, wow, like they didn't trade back. They didn't pick a guy that we had 60th on our board. They picked a wide receiver, and people were happy. I was just sitting there like, I don't even know what to do with my hands. Like, I didn't know how to. It's to this. Like I said, this morning I woke up, watched a few highlights, some interviews, some press conference stuff, and now I'm so excited. And I really think that it's going to raise that level of competition. We talked about what it would do. A lot of people, the naysayers, are like, well, we can't draft a wide receiver, then who are we going to let go? We got to get over that mentality. And trust me, I love the late round guys, the guys on the roster that are barely making it. That's my bread and butter. But it's like, you get a guy like Matthew Golden that comes in, you got to reset that depth chart. You just have to, especially when he's a first round draft pick and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to watch the competition because it's going to, that boat's going to rise all ships kind of thing, where I believe that you're going to get the best wide receiver squad possible because everybody's trying to get that money, trying to get that ranking,
Yeah, definitely. Tim, I know you were there with us yesterday all day, man. How did you feel about the vibe? And then now looking back, knowing what the pick ended up being.
Oh man, I'm excited to be there today. I think you're right, Clayton. The buzz is going to be real. Yesterday was electric. We made a great effort to try and see everything in one day, and it's just really difficult to do. It's such a huge draft campus, and today's going to be awesome day 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what Goody's got in store for us at pick 54. I don't know. I have a feeling we could see a trade here in on day 2 possibly, since we didn't see one yesterday. You never know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, you guys know no secret here in terms of, you know, when we're building our board and throughout the draft process, we like to get the opinions of other people who I feel like are much, much better at breaking down tape and doing research on specific prospects. And even during the season, you know, we go to Baldy a lot, Brian Baldinger, right? Because dude played offensive line in the NFL. It goes back to what we opened the show with. Like, you got people that have never played one snap of football their entire life, much less college, even you know, much less with the NFL. Like, they never sniffed the NFL. And you got people like Brian Baldinger breaking down the tape, and those people that have never played the game are going, I disagree. I think this guy's like, what are we doing? But Greg Cosell is one of those dudes, right? And we've got a factor in our draft board that's kind of baked into it, that we take his opinion almost as if he's a senior scout or advisor, right? So I'm going to put this up on the screen real quick. This is from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, all right? And this was Greg Cosell early in the process when they were breaking down the tape and everything. This was what he had to say about Matthew Golden, all right, whenever they were just kind of talking prospects early in the process. Again, this is from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. And Greg Cosell, as Ross refers to him as the civilian GOAT, he's been breaking down tape since the 70s for NFL films. This is actually the great Howard Cosell. Some of the older folks in the chat here. Oh, I remember Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football calling the games, right? This is Howard Cosell, that guy. This is his nephew. So been around.
That's the game his nephew? I never knew that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Wow.
So here's what he had to say about Matthew Golden, just breaking down kind of. You may hear some negative in here too. That's a good thing about Greg. He'll just give you the full scouting report. But here's what he had to say.
The guy that jumped out to me, and again, I saw him before the combine, was Matthew Golden from Texas. And he obviously ran exceptionally well. I don't think he plays exactly to his 4.29 40-yard dash time at the combine. But to me, I thought that he has really good route running refinement. I thought that he had separation quickness. I thought he worked from multiple splits in Steve Sarkisian's offense, and that's an offense that does a lot with the pass game. I thought he had a really good feel as a route runner with the pace and tempo of different routes, changing speeds through his vertical stem. I think he's a 3-level dimension. I think there's a vertical element to his game. He was a receiver that I thought would be ascending when he gets to the league. And he's not this receiver at all in terms of traits, but the receiver last year that I felt watching his college tape that would ascend once he got to the league was Brian Thomas. And that worked out that way. And I think Matthew Golden, to me, kind of falls into that category. I think he'll be an ascending player once he gets to the NFL.
All right, there you go. That was Greg Cosell. I apologize for the volume. There's nothing we could do. That's how it was recorded. So love what he said about it being, a multi-dimensional player, someone who can, affect the passing game at all 3 levels. He works really well out of the stem. He's a very fluid player. He's kind of got a little dog in him too when it comes to yak and things like that. Get this off the screen. That's hilarious, dude. But I don't know, man. Just hearing him kind of talk about him, Emilio. Yeah. I understand what he's saying with the 4.2. He doesn't really play to that 4.2 speed. When you turn on the tape, you don't go, "Wow, this guy is faster than everybody on the field." He measured well, and I know those reports. All of a sudden, now Green Bay takes Matthew Golden. Now there's reports out there going, "Oh, you actually didn't run a 4.29 40. There was a big miss." It's okay, got it. All of a sudden, let's try to find a reason to hate this dude, right?
Right. If you watch his interviews,
go ahead, Jacob.
No, if you watch his interviews, he actually talked about how he, in his training, he was consistently hitting 4.3, 4.31, 4.32, 4.33. And he said, when I got down there, I knew I was going to run well. He goes, my adrenaline was pumping so hard. He's like, I feel basically like my heart pumping out of my chest. He's like, I knew I was going to run fast. So that is crazy, knowing that like he knew his threshold. He knew what he could run at. And the fact that he had that extra NOS boost, that that fast and too furious Nas just kicking in that pumped him over the 4.29 level there, which I think, and like you said, I didn't see it on tape. I didn't see him separate the way that I would want to with a guy that's a 4.29, but I think that game speed is a real thing, and that if he can kind of hone that and harness almost that weird secret power, it's like my adrenaline makes me turn into a 4.29 40. So like, try to figure that out, buddy. Let's. I got a lot of hopes for him. It'll be fun. What were you going to say, Tim?
Oh no, I was just going to say that in addition to the tape on him, which is, something that we're still kind of digesting, and I'm sure we'll be putting together a chalk talk on Matthew Golden like we will on all these prospects. The thing that stood out to me, man, is this kid's attitude. That you can just tell you're getting a football player with his head screwed on straight, and he's going to fit the mold here in Green Bay very well, and a lot to look forward to. It's going to be fun this summer at training camp, seeing him put in that work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Emilio.
Can I pose a question to you guys?
Please, Jacob.
He said, "Please, Jacob." Go ahead.
I just real quick, Amelia. Sorry to interrupt.
Question.
Question.
King Trey, which bear is best?
Hold on, Jacob. I'm sorry. Hold on. We got Josh Martin super chat. We missed, didn't we? Let's hit this real quick. I think we missed this, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. That'll lead into the comment.
Yeah. Said, is it true Watson's dad had a meltdown over the pick? I seen the tweet. He didn't say it was a bad pick. He didn't say Matthew Golden wasn't a. I mean, I could read it verbatim if you guys would like me to. I'll heck with it. I'll do it real quick. Okay.
King Tron. Listen, anybody who
what's that?
I said King Tron. Actually, he highlighted it right here. I was going to share that. That's what I was about to share before the super chat here.
So here's the entire tweet that Christian Watson's dad had. Okay, he says, again, why people think this pick has anything to do with Christian is beyond me. That doesn't sound like he's upset about it, right? He said, what personnel department do they think drafts a 5'11", 191-pound guy to do what a 6'4", 215-pound guy does? Again, this has nothing to do with Christian. Our response to the pick has to do with what we see as making the team better. Obviously, the Packers brass saw it differently. That literally happens every day between teams, fans, media, and even their own players. Everybody won't agree on direction. However, what matters is the folks making the decision. It says now we all get to see this decision materialize, but Golden is a good prospect who, in order to maximize his top traits, will require a shift in the philosophy we've observed executed by the Packers offense over the last several seasons. Hopefully they make it work to get to a Super Bowl in February. Now, he may have said something before that you've got there. If you do, Jacob, read it. Whoever said it in the chat. But listen, I understand what he's saying there. Like, you don't draft Matthew Golden to replace Christian Watson. Right? Now, if we're all being hard-ass fans and a little bit kind of, brash, Christian's got to stay on the field. We all want that. I get mad every time I hear a fan say he's soft, especially when they're 45 pounds overweight sitting on the couch with Cheeto stains on their whitey tighties. You know what I'm saying? Like, Christian Watson, if he stays healthy, adding him with Matthew Golden, essentially what you've got with Matthew Golden is a guy who can play all over the offense. You got Jaden Reed, who's going to be your slot defender. They can actually be interchangeable now. When they try to key in on that F motion, that jet motion and everything, you can now kick Jaden Reed outside and bring Matthew Golden in to do that. You could keep Jaden Reed in that role, and you just heard Greg Cosell talk about how Matthew Golden's he has a 3-level dimension to his game, short, intermediate, and deep passing. And then when Christian Watson's healthy, you're stretching the field with a 6'4" dude that if they decide to go single coverage, man coverage, whatever it is, drop a jump ball in there occasionally. Like the team only got better with this pick. So I don't see his comments as dogging the team or anything. Now, listen, when we took her, I want to say this. I want to get Emilio's take. I feel like I've cut him off 6 times now. I apologize, man. I'm
sure. Because he keeps farting.
If you watch the lead up, Tim's going, what was that, Jacob? Don't worry about it, Tim. If you watch the lead up to this draft, Christian Watson's dad had some strong takes on wide receiver because he thinks, hey, I don't think they need a receiver, right? And I think there's a lot of fans that agree with that. And that's what he's saying in this tweet is like, hey, you can have your own opinion and disagree,
Right.
But what cracks me up is, I'm not saying whoever it was in the chat did this. I'm just watching the comments on Twitter. If he has a differing opinion, they go after him. Are you just defending your son? And tries to roast him, and then they get mad when he claps back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm over here, honestly, Emilio. I'm as a fan going, would y'all please shut the hell up because you're embarrassing the franchise?
Yeah.
If you're a fan and you go argue with the player's father, whether you disagree with him or not, how do you think Christian Watson feels about being a Packer now?
Right.
Yeah, they see that stuff. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what is that helping at this point? I mean, it really comes down to what they're going to be doing on the field in a couple of months, right? It's not going to be like we see him as, a player from Texas that's coming in. And we Goody talked about, hitting that threshold of the height and all that, the weight. And you look at Christian being, like he was saying, 6'4", 215. We still have that 4.2 speed. But, can Matthew Golden run that crosser? I don't know. Can he break away from the safeties on that? Possibly. But having the ability to rotate in those kind of players, I mean, how often are we in 11 personnel? How often are we in 20 or 12 personnel? So it's like we have threats on offense. We just need to make sure it kind of all comes together. If you have that ability, I mean, we talked about it. Romeo Doubs has to run 15 streaks just to open up a couple of daggers underneath, just to open up a couple of crossers underneath. And, I mean, you get dogged out a little bit. You get tired after running, 10, 15 streaks in a row. Let's get a little rotation. We talk about the hockey line on the D-line all the time. Let's rotate those wide receivers in and try to use them as like a burner getting past people. I think that's
I just caught the ball, man.
Thank you. I mean, why are we not excited about what Matt can do with it? Like, how is Matt LaFleur not going to be able to cook with, you get Christian Watson back, but then you get this kind of speed. You got Jaden Reed, you got Romeo. I mean, I have more faith in Matt getting something done with this kind of a threat at wide receiver than being mad about the pick, causing the other wide receivers an issue.
Yeah.
Tron, who just super chat says, sorry for catching only a very small percentage of the quote. You're good, Tron. You're totally cool, man. I just happened to come across that quote.
Yeah, what he was referencing was earlier. I was going to highlight this one here where he talks about, apparently he went on to say something saying, it is what it is. He says, more power to the young man, but I'm going to tell you right now, they deserve what they get. They deserve what they get. Quote from Watson's father yesterday. Now, I will say there was another
that's
comment.
Different. That's different.
Exactly. So when the quote came down, King Tron says, sorry for catching a small percent of the quote. That's not your fault. It's because I believe he commented later on that post as well. Right. I'm just going to say, the guy's supposed to stick up for his kid. He is. But I will also say I've never once heard Watson say, I like my dad and I appreciate what he has to say about my career. I'll just be honest. That's what I've never once said, seen Christian Watson be like, I really love the fact that my dad talks about everything that I'm doing in my career. Never seen him even comment on the fact that what his dad talks about. So, and I will say also, Shedeur Sanders' dad was very involved in his career. Look how that happened in round one. All right. So maybe people need to back off and let the kids be kids, let them play live their own life. I will say that. That's what I'll say. And also for the people that are saying, what are we going to do when he comes back? That means we're going to have two freaks on either side of the field. Like, why would you be mad about that? You're going to cover the guy that comes back.
Let's not all forget here, too, that it's not as if Scoot's going to just come back and magically be 100%, top of the line ready. It's going to take him a week or two to kind of get his legs under him and get into that, NFL playing groove again when you've missed so much time. So having depth like this in the receiver room is a great problem to have.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just tell you this, Jacob. When he does come back, what are we going to do? We're going to be, to say it again, we're going to be crapping in high cotton. That's what we're going to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited about it. I think it's a good pick.
And you're telling me that's not going to bring competition to the room? I mean, you're telling me that's going to not going to want to make Wick step up and not going to. I mean, everybody wants to try to raise their level to either reach that competitive, like scale that Golden's on, or everyone's trying to get each other better to better the team.
That's what I'm going to be watching at camp. Everyone's going to be watching Matthew Golden at training camp. I'm going to be watching the bottom end of this receiver room, guys like, Melton and my boy Malik Heath. And, it's going to be fun to just see that competition level raise for sure.
Yeah. And I'm seeing everything across Twitter now, and everybody is quoting that one line, right? They're saying, they say Christian Watson's dad on Twitter, first round receiver, quote, they get what they deserve what they get. Now listen, that's the first time I read that. You guys brought it up here tonight. You're probably going, Clayton, how did you not see it on Twitter? I'm telling you, man, I keep my algorithm clean of all the BS, of all the arguing and stuff. I just want to talk ball. But that quote there, I'm not going to BS you. It bothers me.
Yeah.
And maybe in the heat of the moment, he regrets saying it. That's cool. We can all forgive and forget, right? Like, it's all good. But to say it does almost sound like, Emilio, am I wrong? It does kind of feel like, well, I'm kind of hoping they fall on their face since they went this route. I mean, it does kind of have that tone to it, but again, we're reading a text.
No, yeah, and that's tough to say. I mean, because trust me, I just type run-on sentences. I'm not trying to use punctuation. I'm just trying to get my words out. So, but I can see that. But let's not forget. Jeez, that's tough. That's tough. I'm a little tan, Jacob. You know how it goes.
He's been tanning too, Jacob.
Yeah, let's not forget that we did try to move back into the first to get Christian Watson, right? It wasn't the fact that like we weren't going to take a first-round wide receiver. It could have been Christian. Yeah. That could have been the drought cleaner. But I think that taking him in the second, it's like, oh, it's all right. He's a second-round pick now. No, I mean he should have been a first. I mean the way Goody tried to make that happen. That would be our 2 first-round wide receivers that we picked recently.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so again, guys, I'm just not interested in trying to dog a player's dad or trying to defend them either. Again, you need all these receivers. How many times? It's just like tight end. People, when we would mock a tight end to the Packers, people were constantly saying, "That's just stupid. Why would you get a tight end?" I don't know, because we had an undrafted free agent starting at tight end last year because of injuries, like as if injuries aren't going to happen.
Yep.
Like you got to go best player available. Tim, were you going to say something, man?
No, I just loving King Tron's comment here. I've never heard a more stupid take than "What are we going to do with all the talent?"
Yeah, right.
It's so true. Like there are teams in this league that would love to have wide receiver depth like we have in Green Bay now. They'd love to have a top 10 defense like we have in Green Bay right now. So these are all good quote unquote problems. I don't even think you call it a problem. And you trust your coaching staff and you trust your front office to be able to manage the amount of talent you have on a team. We talked about the Eagles last year, and you look at that roster and how stacked that roster is. You think that happened overnight? That was years of installing a system and a team and getting over the mountaintop and hoisting a Lombardi. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I honestly feel like we're as close as we've been in recent memory. Lombardi's coming home, guys. It's a matter of time.
Ooh, Tim's calling it. I love what you just said right there, Tim. It's like talking about how we have too much talent. That's like complaining my pants don't have enough pockets to hold all my money. I'm gonna get rid of my pants. It's like, no.
We know you're getting rid of your pants, Jacob. You're working day shift today or what? What's going on?
They're all ones, Tim. That accrue, $100 is a lot more when they're all ones.
Emilio said pesos fit in your pocket a little bit better. No problem.
We got a little jingle too.
Emilio doesn't make it rain. He makes it hail. He just throws pesos right at him.
Oh, man. Let's see here what we got. Dave in the chat says, Tazim, I hope I'm saying that name right. Christian's dad's name. Is it Tazim? Is that right?
I believe
Tazim,
so, yeah.
Quite frankly, I don't think we're done at wide receiver. More than likely, there's still a shot at grabbing a big body guy. But for the betterment of the team, I still hope they do something to impact. So I'm hoping that's an accurate quote there, Dave. We probably should fact check that stuff.
Yeah, we're trusting you guys in the chat here.
Yeah. We got this stellar reputation on this show that we're really concerned about. Lord have mercy. So I'll tell you someone else who's got a real good reputation with breaking down the tape. I see people roast this guy, and I crack up because Dan Orlovsky played football at the NFL level. Well, he was just a backup. I'm sorry. What string were you, sir? You know what I mean? Like, this dude made it to the NFL. I love his film breakdowns. He's one of the great minds in breaking down the tape. Here's what he had to say about the Matthew Golden pick as well. Again, this is Dan Orlovsky. I apologize if it's too low. We've got the volume cranked. We'll try to fix it for you guys on the on the podcast form. And Dave here in the chat said it's literally from his Twitter account. Okay, Dave, we wasn't saying it wasn't, bro. Just saying. Hopefully that quote was correct, because we try to check that stuff. Like I was reading off his Twitter just a second ago, right? I feel comfortable repeating that stuff. But let me give you an example, Dave. If someone just hops in here and throws a random quote up and I read it verbatim, like, hey, this is what he said, and it's not true, then what am I doing? You know what I mean? That's all I meant by that. I wasn't saying you were lying. Simply, I didn't have a chance to fact check it. So please don't take that the wrong way. But here we go. Here is Dan Orlovsky talking about the Matthew Golden pick. It looked like in the lobby of a hotel somewhere.
Dude, the Packers. Packers could have that could be the biggest, probably one of the biggest best pass games in the NFC. Dude, they got two good tight ends, good offensive line, obviously Jacobs. So now they have Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden.
Getting picked by Green Bay in Green Bay.
And being Green Bay.
Receiver,
go Pack Go, being a wideout.
That's so sick.
That's a great pick by Green Bay.
Yeah, I love it.
Jordan Love. Green Bay's going to be a problem.
Yeah, they are.
Problem.
And this works twofold, too. You take them before the Vikings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great pick, Green Bay.
All
right, so there you go. Dan Orlovsky, former NFL quarterback, saying it's a great pick.
Get Danny Boy another daddy soda on us.
I was going to say, he's a little buzzed up right there.
I don't know if he drinks. Dan's been criticized a lot for, talking about his Christianity on the air and actually praying on live TV on ESPN. I think, in terms of the noise in the background, it's obvious they were hanging out in the lobby somewhere and everybody was kind of chiming in too in the background. He recorded it from his phone. You guys couldn't see the video. You're probably going, why don't you show the video? It's on Twitter. Because some random person could grab that video, upload it to their YouTube, AI detect that we're sharing someone else's video, even though they didn't create it, and all of a sudden our channel's banned. So we got to be careful about that stuff. But what did y'all think about what Dan said there? It's kind of going hand in hand with what we just talked about, man. They're gonna be a problem, and the chances. I'll say this, and I'll turn it over to you, Jacob. The chances that the Packers have the drop issues they had last year are slim to none. Like the year before wasn't much of an issue, right? Now the year before that, Aaron Rodgers' final year in Green Bay, they led the league in drops, right? But last year they kind of rebounded, or the year after that they rebounded back, and then last year they had a lot of drops again. But I don't know, Jacob. I'm excited about this offense, see what they can do vertically.
Yeah, I really am. And you got a lot of guys, again, that are on second year, third year, fourth year contracts where they have to show us what they can do. Guys like Tay Wicks. Obviously, guys like if Dobbs is going to stick around, he's going to have to show us something other than being a little bit, up and down. Watson obviously has his battles he's going to have to face. We got guys on the back end that look like they could make the team. And if Golden comes in there and he really is the type of prospect that we hope he is, then yeah, it's going to be a great battle there. I don't feel like that any of these wide receivers have any excuses anymore. They've seen what they can be if they're doing what they're supposed to do. We have, like Dan just said, we have one of the most scariest offenses in the league. We just do. Who are you going to cover? You're going to cover Jacobs, 2 tight ends, 4 wide receivers, Jordan Love that can be mobile. I mean, go ahead, try and do that. Gregory Bolinski says Todd McShay ranked Golden as his number 1 wide receiver in the draft. Will be fun to see how they fit Golden into this offense. I agree as well. And even
that's my stepdad. He knows ball. We've got to listen when Greg's talking.
There you go,
man. Greg, appreciate you tuning in.
I mean, what is it right here? Josh Martin says there's no excuse for Love not to progress now. So I think that's these picks are all kind of weighting each other's balances. The wide receiver pick puts pressure on the wide receivers, puts pressure on Goot, puts pressure on Matt, puts pressure on Jordan Love, puts pressure on obviously the wide receiver room to evolve and be better.
I really like the idea of taking a tight end at some point in this draft, like we talked about. Yes, a guy like an Arondé Gadsden, where we add a little depth in that tight end room, and then you're also basically solidifying that wide receiver room even more because you're adding another dynamic pass catching threat type of tight end. Take some of the pressure off of Tuck Norris, allowing Tucker Kraft to just do what he does best. And maybe even allows an opportunity for a guy like a Luke Musgrave, who we've been waiting for to take that step. This could be the year. I mean, if these guys, we talked about these supporting role type guys, like Tay Wicks, and we talk about Musgrave. Man, if these guys take a step in 2025, this offense is going to be deadly, 100% deadly.
Yep, agreed. All right, moving along here. Actually, go ahead, hit that super chat. I apologize.
Yep, real quick. Super chat from Jason Y. He says, great pick. Cannot wait to see who they take for a 3-tech and a cornerback, hopefully today. That would be, I'd be pumped about that. But hey guys, don't sell yourselves that we're not taking another wide receiver in the second round. All right. I was told some great guy did a great mock where 2 wide receivers went for the first 2 picks. People liked it. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying he's that great of a guy. He's an okay guy.
I'm just saying.
Jacob, was Matthew Golden one of those picks?
Nope.
Deadfish, one of those picks?
Yes, I hope so. No, he won't. Deadfish was asking about his drop rate, and I saw some other people in the chat saying that he drops a lot of balls. I think his drop rate was at like 6.2%. So
that's a good
not
drop
bad
rate
whatsoever.
What they say is you don't want anything over 10, and 8 is kind of that. If you're 8 or under, you're good. Right now, is it Jack Besh? Is it Elijah Badger, who had 0? No.
Right.
But, yeah. So before we move on here, I want to hit on the first round real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Just kind of a recap of the first round picks. But this came across Twitter, and it's worth. We're really risking it here. I don't know. The logo here. I don't know if you guys seen this or not. Let me try to get it zoomed in a little bit. This was, I think, the Kelvin Banks pick, and watch the reaction of the family member here holding the baby. Get ready. Look at this poor baby. Watch this.
It's just
poor baby's like, oh no.
Earthquake.
You'll be okay. You can be okay.
That poor kid's like, you didn't know this is nap time right now? What are you doing?
Get that kid a guardian cat.
It's seasoning through.
Put up at the end. It's good up at the end.
Did it really?
Yeah, he throws it up. Watch.
Let's get it in slow motion for this. All right.
We gotta see.
Let's go a quarter.
Comes it right here. And
right here.
execution.
Right here. 1, 2, 3.
This looked like me battling the cannolis last night. Watch this right here.
Hold on, here it
Thought
comes.
I heard something coming from behind the door there.
Oh yeah. My man. That was me waking up, Jacob. That was the same look I had trying to get out of bed right there. That's me this morning.
I can't.
All right. Let's hit the first round and get out of here. All right. We gotta get ready to roll to head over.
We got a super chat real quick from Daniel Zapp. It says Todd McShay, quoting, Golden is Tyreek Light, Tank Dell esque. Wow. All right. Let's do it.
I hope he is correct. Todd McShay's another great one when it comes to draft coverage for sure. We almost incorporated him into the board this year because there was such a lack of information leading up. And then, of course, we get to Lambeau yesterday, and Emilio went, Clayton. He looked up at the board. They had the NFL Network broadcast on. He went, Daniel Jeremiah just released his top 200. So they went 50 more prospects. I looked at Mandy. I said, find us an Office Depot. We got to print a new board. So hopefully next year we'll zero it down even more. This is definitely the most accurate board we've created. So it's been an absolute blast. Again, thank you for that super chat there, Daniel. Appreciate you. So let's do a quick recap of the first round. Jacob, do you want to read them? Can you read them okay? And let's just kind of, why don't we take it, let's do it a row at a time here. So, or a column, whatever the heck it is. Let's go those first 8 picks and everybody react to them real quick.
Sure. Number 1, no surprise, Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans, quarterback out of Miami.
Nothing to do in Green Bay.
That's right. Number 2 was draft of Travis Hunter, which traded up from pick 5, I believe. Number 3 was Abdul Carter, New York Giants. Number 4, the New England Patriots selected Will Campbell. Number 5, the Mason Graham pick was kind of a shocker to a lot of people. D tackle out of for the Cleveland Browns. Number 6 was no surprise, Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. Number 7, Armand Membu to the New York Jets, offensive tackle. And Tet McMillan went number 8th overall to Carolina, the wide receiver, the big-bodied guy. What do y'all think?
Deadfish here says that was the baby reacting to his daddy being drafted by the Saints. By the way. Tim, I'll let you go first here, man. What do you think about those top 8 picks? Again, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Mason Graham, Ashton Gianti, Armand Membu, and then Tet McMillan.
I'll tell you, it was real easy to follow along on our horizontal board because I think we did a pretty good job on the research. Got to tip our caps to Emilio and Clay. You guys really put that thing together nicely. But I'm with Jacob, man. I think the surprise to me was Mason Graham going to Cleveland. That was a bit of a shocker. I thought Cleveland would take a quarterback off the board for us. That was about the only big surprise to me in that first set of picks.
Yeah. Jacob, go ahead and read the second column there, bro.
Sure. Starting with pick 9, it was Calvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas, went to the Saints. Number 10, Colson Loveland went to the Bears. A lot of people were thinking that Genty would go there, but they snubbed him with that. Number 11, perfect fit, in my opinion, was Mykel Williams going to the Niners, the edge out of Georgia. Number 12, another surprise for me at least, was Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama, goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Number 13, Kenneth Grant, D-tackle from Michigan, goes to Miami. Number 14, Tyler Warren, which was most people's number 1 tight end, slips and falls to the Indianapolis Colts at pick number 14. Number 15, Jalen Walker, the edge out of Georgia, goes to the Atlanta Falcons, who absolutely decided that the talk about them not drafting an edge or a D-end in the first round absolutely got crushed there. Number 16, one that broke my heart and Clayton's heart, I'm sure, Walter Nolan, D-tackle from Ole Miss, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Thoughts?
Broke my heart too, guys.
I wanted DTD real bad last year. We wanted Walter Nolan real bad this year. I hope Arizona's defense turns into something, man, because from our take, they've taken some pretty decent players. I really like the Tyler Booker pick for the Cowboys just because, Jerry's on his way out soon, right? I know that they need some help, man. They got to protect Dak. They really do. So I think that I'm glad that they're building in the trenches, right? So really kind of happy with any of those that are trying to build inside out. And obviously the Bears are just going to go try to take an offensive threat and not protect their man. Spend all the money in free agency to do that. So we'll see how that works out for them.
And a couple of things with that column for me is when you look at Jalen Walker, you guys know I'm not very high on Jalen Walker. We had him in the 30s, so I think that was a little bit of a reach. Now, he's a freak, don't get me wrong, in terms of athleticism, but I don't think he truly knows how to rush the passer yet. Kind of like a Shamar Stewart. But the Walter Nolan pick in Arizona, he could anchor that line for a very long time, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the best 3-tech in the draft, my personal opinion. However, our board suggested it would have been Kenneth Grant. Again, like you guys said, the board just kind of fell right into place. Jacob, go ahead with the third.
Sure. Number 17, Shamar Stewart goes to the Bengals. I think that was a surprise for a lot of people. Number 18, Gray Zabel, no surprise. He was mocked to the Seattle Seahawks multiple drafts. The guard out of North Dakota State there. Number 19, I think that was a surprise for myself. Emeka Egbuka goes to the Bucks. I actually thought they were definitely going to pull the trigger on maybe like a Jihad Campbell there. Number 20 broke our hearts as well. Jahdae Barron goes to the Broncos, the cornerback out of Texas. Number 21, another surprise. Derek Harmon going to the Steelers. A lot of people thought that would be the Shador landing spot. Number 22, Amarian Hampton. Emilio's loves that guy, right? He goes to the Los Angeles Chargers. And then we all know what happened with number 23, Matthew Golden, the wide receptor from Texas, goes to Green Bay. And then 24, one that still I'm a little bit scratching my head about, Donovan Jackson, the guard from Ohio State, obviously a good player, kicked out to tackle for a lot of that stint in his last year. The Minnesota Vikings decide they want to bolster up that interior offensive line. I'll ask you guys, what do you think? The Minnesota Vikings have 4 picks this year. They decided to take the first.
Jacob, be professional in here, please, for the love of God. Go ahead, Tim. What do you think about that column there?
What do I think about the Vikings? First of all, gag me. Second of all, at least we only have to.
In my mouth right there.
At least we only have to see them pick 3 more times in this draft, unless they make a crazy trade or something and try and add another pick. But
Tim, what do you think about what Chris says here? They clearly needed a cornerback and a safety. Malachi Starks is there. A lot of these another great safety is there. All the cornerbacks are left. They go interior offensive line. Thoughts?
Let them cook. Let them cook. keep on.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Jeez.
I'm telling you. They're going to have for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback at the helm this year, and I guess that's why maybe they did. Maybe they thought O-line was the priority. And maybe they're worried about that Green Bay Packer defense that they got to face twice this season. So, but all in all, that third tier here, 17 to 24. It did hurt a little bit to see Jahdae Barron off the board. But again, the Packers, I think, crushed it with the Matthew Golden pick. And Omari and Hampton going to the Chargers, that's a great pick for them too as well. I know Emilio was holding on to hope that we might pick up a running back, and it's still a possibility. Ollie Gordon is still on the board, and he looks like a 3rd or 4th round type guy. So there might be an opportunity to snag a running back as well for this offense. But I think we'll see today really what happens at 54 is going to give us a really good barometer of where we're going to be heading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about you, Emilio? Anything you want to add to that column?
Yeah, I'm just happy everyone's happy with their wide receiver. I think that, I think it kind of laid out for Goody that way just because, you look at 17, Shamar Stewart, the ball of clay left. The versatile lineman and Gray Zabel gone. Emeka Ibuka, another 30 visit gone. Jahdae Barron, the slot corner that we were looking at, gone. Derek Harmon, went to Oregon Pro Day, gone. So pretty much, it walked him right into that pick almost. And I think that's where we were talking about how the board falls. You really don't have any idea until you get to draft day. How many people mocked this, right? So I think you kind of got to be, play the hand you're dealt. And I think he did a great job, though we need to, focus on defense coming in here. Rounds 2 and 3, we're going to need that 3 tech or a D lineman, edge, and a corner. Though it is pretty deep. I think it's going to be a lot of defense going in the 2nd and the 3rd round today.
Go ahead, Jacob, with that final column.
Absolutely. So in the 25th pick, the New York Giants traded back up into the 1st and grabbed their quarterback, hopefully for the future, in their eyes, Jackson Dart. 26, the Falcons came around again and said, hey, we're going to take our edge voodoo and we're going to absolutely disrupt that. So they got James Pierce Jr. as an edge. They also earlier had Jalen Walker. Pretty impressive there. The Baltimore Ravens say, all right, Vikings, you guys don't want Malachi Starks, one of the best, if not the best safety in the draft. Well, we'll just take him and pair him with Kyle Hamilton. That'll be great. Thanks, guys. 28, Tyleik Williams. The Detroit Lions say we're going to bolster up that interior defensive line. Great pick for them, as much as I hate it. 29, Josh Connerly Jr., the offensive tackle out of Oregon, goes to the Commanders. And then 30, the Maxwell Hairston. That one kind of stunk a little bit if you're a Packer fan, especially if you're Amelia, who got to be rubbing shoulders and taking pictures with him. The cornerback out of Kentucky. It just looked like that writing was on the wall. Buffalo needs a cornerback in a bad way. An interesting scenario was when Jihad Campbell was picked by the Philadelphia Eagles at pick 31, who traded up with the Kansas City Chiefs. I did not have that on my bingo card whatsoever. Chiefs allow them to sneak up there and get Jihad, and then they come back with the last pick, and the Chiefs decide to pick Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick by Kansas City. I really do. You guys know how I feel about Josh Simmons in the final days leading up to the draft, hearing people talk about him as an athletic offensive lineman for sure. So
my knee.
I know. You're right. Emilio, there's a knee problem there for sure. King Tron, thank you for that, buddy. Appreciate you, man. He said everybody just hit like, share, all that good stuff. We do. We have over over 400 people watching live right now. We appreciate y'all waking up with us here and talking a little ball as we're getting ready to wrap up. But
we also got a new member here, Matthew Hassan. Appreciate that.
Good stuff, Matthew. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel for sure. Also, if anyone's interested in one of the best ways to support the channel, if you're comfortable doing it on YouTube like that, we greatly appreciate it. But you get a little more bang for your buck in terms of over at Patreon. If you scan the QR code in the upper right, go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Just $3 tier. You can do it just month to month. You can do an annual membership if you want to, but you get access to everything on our site there, including film breakdown. We're going to be doing a lot of that this year. This coming week's going to be hectic. I got to get back to Tennessee, get settled in because I got to break down a lot of tape so we can get into these prospects and see what we got there for sure. So, anybody got anything else to comment on that final row there? Anybody at all?
Big shocker. Oh, go ahead. Tim. I was going to say a big shocker to me was the Eagles moving up and taking Campbell. It makes me wonder how far Mike Green is going to fall in this draft. I thought for sure Philly was going to snag Mike Green when they moved up, and it ended up being Campbell. So that was a little bit of a shock to me.
Tim, to that Campbell point, I think that they literally go, all right, we saw Braun, what he can do. I mean, they walk him up on the edge a lot. They use him as a stack backer a lot. I mean, I think that's almost a clone pick. You bring in Campbell and you go, hey, I want you to do the same thing Braun does. We paid him. But I feel like it's something we do, right? You pay the guy that kind of money, then you bring in somebody a little bit younger to learn from him and grow from, and boom. Now you have two of those. If you have one on either side that can walk up, play stack, I mean, the defense is going to be kind of scary.
Yeah, I agree.
If anybody in the chat, somebody on the Vikings apparently got in a little trouble last night. Does anybody have any?
Oh, look, Jacob, look, this is my shock face. Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh, Adrian Peterson. Sorry, not important anymore. But apparently,
oh boy,
yeah, he got a little.
Sit your butt outside.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's see if we can comb through the old Twitter. Do you know what it was, Jacob? You gonna leave me hanging here?
I think he got maybe got a Dewey, something like that.
A what? A duty? He took a duty?
A Dewey.
Oh, Dewey. Okay, sorry.
You got behind the wheel, if you will, after a couple daddy sodas. Aiming fuel is what my Uncle Dan used to call it. Yeah, not sure about that, but Viking's gonna Viking. Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
He's played for like 97 other teams since he's been a Viking. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, he did float around.
Pack Daddy just put a tweet out. He had quote tweeted something from NFL Network about the whole Kyle Brandt being triggered over the Shedeur Sanders thing.
Ugh.
And Tom Pellet, I'm trying to let me just put it on the screen. And we got to be careful with this too, but I know we're going to go over a little bit. Shocking, isn't it? This is interesting, the whole Shedeur Sanders thing, because if I'm reading into this correctly, it looks like Tom Pelissero's dunking on Kyle Brandt a little bit, and they're colleagues at NFL Network. Hey, y'all want to hang out for a minute?
Let's go. Hell yeah.
All right.
We were talking about
how ready to go.
What was you saying, Jay?
No, we talked about it before we went live, how much I absolutely hated that take and thought it was just the most kindergarten. I just can't even believe that they let that go on air. Like feelings and being triggered and good God.
So here's what Kyle Brandt, the whole conversation between Jamie Erdahl, Tom Pelissero, and Kyle Brandt, and then I'll get to the tweet that Tom Pelissero had. I believe actually I think it's going to be in this because, let's just play the clip, and then I'll try to pull it up on screen so you can see the list of the sources, anonymous sources that they were talking about particularly. Here we go.
Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders here, which we've done a ton of. I believe Shedeur Sanders gets drafted today. I believe that somewhere along rounds 2 and 3, his name comes off the board. And just like any player, I think we're all rooting for everybody, right? No one's rooting for anybody to fail. I think that where we fall short at times as the media is allowing certain things to get ahead of what people within the NFL actually see. Okay. And if you talk to scouts and coaches around the NFL, there was one guy in this draft who was a surefire starting quarterback in terms of profile, and that was Cam Ward. The rest of them, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, who goes to the Giants after they trade up, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck. They're all somewhere in that first, second round border type of an area. For the Giants, they like Jackson Dart's athletic ability. They like his size. They like the fact that they can run the football with him and run RPOs and read options, which really isn't Shedeur Sanders' game. With Shedeur, you got to have a really clear vision. You got to believe that he's going to be able to adjust his game at least somewhat from what he did at the college level to the NFL in terms of getting the ball out faster, not taking as many sacks, being more efficient as a quarterback. And when there's only so many teams that are even in the first-round quarterback market, you can say, yeah, he's sliding, but is it actually a slide? What I would say is this is probably right around where, if you were being realistic about it and taking his last name out of it, was always where he was going to go. He was somewhere in a late first, second-round quarterback. There were definitely teams that had him above Jackson Dart. There were a lot of teams that had Jackson Dart above Shedeur Sanders. Now the question becomes, day 2 of the draft, you got the Browns with a couple of picks high, Kyle, in the second round. You got the Saints who have a high second-round pick. The Steelers don't have a second-round pick. They do have a third. In my mind, that might potentially be the floor for Shedeur Sanders here. His opportunity is coming, but again, we could talk about all the other things around Shedeur Sanders. It's all real. You've spoken about it extensively. But in terms of just the player itself, I understand what the numbers were in college. I understand the production, but the feeling within the league, you're talking about traits and what that guy's going to be in the NFL.
Tom, you, whether it was direct or not, seems like people had a lot of feedback for the fact that you put anonymous quotes out there from NFL executives about Shedeur Sanders specifically. You did it about everybody, all 18 prospects that were in this draft. When this went down last night, and the fact that he is a second-round guy, and the young man is standing there saying this was never going to happen this day, he's going to have an NFL future. Do you feel validated in putting that feedback out about all the guys? The fact that it is kind of solidifying what you're saying, which is let's be realistic about what Shedeur Sanders was going to do here.
I wouldn't say validating because that makes it seem like I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders to fail or to fall in the draft, which isn't the case. Here's what I would say, and this is one of the fundamental misconceptions here. If you want to say it's trash for somebody to say negative things about an interaction they had with an individual that's their own personal experience, you want to say put your name on if you want to put it out there, go watch the press conferences. You'll be protected. You'll be insulated. You'll hear nothing but positive things about players and people. Everyone's awesome. Everyone's a first-round pick. Yeah. If you actually want to know what people think, you have to grant anonymity to get a blunt assessment in order to figure out how people within the league actually view our particular player. And listen, we can certainly have a debate. Again, I understand why you were triggered by a certain quote that was in a story, but like when you're trying to formulate what actually is the feeling about people within the league, you have to be able to talk to people and have them not pull punches and not hold things back. The other fundamental misconception is that the idea that like, oh, this is a smear campaign, that's what's caused him to slide. Right. The Giants didn't wake up yesterday and go, we were going to take Shedeur, but then we read this anonymous coach for a different team didn't like his interview with him. Now we're not going to do it. No, the quotes and the story and the feeling, that's the actual opinions within the league, not one person. That's the consensus opinions among people within the league. So it's not that the negativity or the narratives or whatever are causing a guy to slide. He's not sliding. He's going where the league has him, and the quotes that are out there are a reflection of.
All right, so you guys get the gist there. I know it was a little bit longer video, but Kyle Brandt, if I wish we could show the video, you guys could go check it out. It's on their Twitter feed. Kyle Brandt is sitting there the whole time like this. It looks so sad. And again, with the anonymous sources, if I can get it back to that part where they put the screen grab up, it says offensive players still on the board after around. Okay, never mind. A few words about Shedeur Sanders. I thought there was a list of anonymous sources that they had put, like just saying like how often it happened. But Pac Daddy quote tweeted that and put, I love that he was sitting right next to the quote triggered Kyle Brandt when he said this. So absolutely awesome stuff there. What's y'all's take on it?
I mean, you could tell that the guy was ashamed of what he had said. He sat there literally like a garden gnome. Never once I heard a peep out of him. Not even if you feel that like passionate about something, you're not gonna. We watch what I feel like what we just witnessed is a guy that was so passionate. I'm triggered. I'm doing this. You had like a 5-minute clip of him just acting I really do feel like that's what you see the difference. He's all of a sudden acting, thinking about what people want to hear. He's not saying what he actually thinks. Then when you get him sat next to a guy that's actually saying truths, you sit next to him and he just sits there. He sits there hunched over, doesn't even have a peep to say. If you really felt as passionate and triggered as you felt in that moment, how would you not stick up for your take after the fact? Clearly, the guy slid throughout the whole 32 teams. Nobody thought he was worth a first-round pick, and your whole argument was the fact that, yeah, it's just because that people are, this or that type of way thinking, and you try to imply a certain type of belief towards people, saying that it was either for. I'm not even going to go there, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. It's bull crap, and you try to get clickbait, and now you sit there when an actual story is on, and the camera's on you, and you hide in the corner going, "Don't look at me," like. I have no respect for that, man. No respect.
No. Tim, you got anything on it, man?
I'm not touching this. No comment.
Smart man right there. That's a smart man.
What do you think, Emilio? You got anything, man?
I just.
How many times are you going to come to my press conference late?
That's that's about all I want to say about that.
Get it off the screen, Jacob.
Dennis shook.
That's why you should be watching on YouTube if you're going, what are they laughing at?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this is what Dennis Shook was putting up. He said, member for 7 months. How'd you knuckleheads land such beautiful women?
Right.
Lucky.
I really don't have an answer.
Chloroform.
But I think they're sitting in the room over here. Please don't let them know. They'll be gone by Sunday.
Oh, boy. King Tron on top of that super chat. That Bears fan always shows his Bear, you know what, stooge.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Greg who texted just a second ago. And we got multiple Gregs that watch the show here, but he's going to be dropping off some more cannolis here in a minute.
War herd.
Yeah, and these are like we kind of Mandy, I want to say, handmade them last night. They were frozen, right, and thawed them out and filled them up and everything. But these are actually coming from Mander Fields. So
took it down to
capital, I believe. So yeah. Anyway, anything else, boys? King Tron asked what time tonight. So when does the draft officially kick off?
7 Central.
7 Central.
7 Eastern, I think. So
yeah, so it's 6 Central.
6 o'clock.
Covered,
yeah.
So.
6 o'clock, God's time.
So we'll have to double check. It said coverage starts at 7 Eastern, so it could be.
Somebody in the chat help us out. We don't know what the hell's going on. We're actually here and we don't know what's going on.
Seriously.
What time does it start? Yeah, 1 hour earlier. That's what I was thinking, Tron. So it's actually going to kick off 6 o'clock our time.
Okay.
So we'll go live at 5:30 Central Time today. All right. Sound good to everybody?
Sounds good to me. I might be in the fans in the stands.
Yeah, he may go over there and actually give us some coverage from the draft. So we'll probably go over for a little bit. They're calling for quite a bit of rain. Tim, you're the local here, man. You looking at the forecast. To me, it looks like it's going to rain a good portion of the day looking at the radar. What do you think we got?
That's what it looks like to me, but I also know that a lot can change in a very short amount of time. So I wouldn't let it discourage anything. Plus, they've got the bowl open up there at Lambeau, so you'll be able to scurry inside and get out of the rain if it's pouring for any reason. But I don't think it should be too bad. It's not going to rain on our parade.
No.
Good deal. I think I'm just looking for a reason to sleep today, to be honest with you, man.
Take a nap, Clay.
He is killing, dude. I swear, all this guy does is sleep. I'm surprised he gets anything done at work all day. I mean, like,
actually don't.
Eric's probably just screaming at you. Clayton's taking a nap in the truck half the time.
That's right, man. Got to have them naps, some afternoon naps. I get cranky. Then it shook with the super chat. Jacob, you can make it from Hudson to Green Bay at 7. That's a true story.
That is true.
I've heard it's about a 4.5 hour drive. That's what I heard.
Jacob, if you'll just
people
call
tell me it's 4.5 hours.
Jacob, if you'll call me as soon as we go offline here, I'll give you some tips on how to get that bracelet off your ankle and slide right up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that's the only problem. One of the best things I ever bought was you can pinpoint your location, and then they'll print you out a sign that says like a street sign that says Lambeau Field. So I got one on my wall that says Lambeau Field is exactly 251 miles away from where I am right now. So I could get that down to an hour and a half if I really speed.
Oh yeah. Put the bracelet on the cat, leave him in the house. It'd be good to go.
Emilio, are you speaking from experience?
No, but this is a rainproof sombrero, so we've done that.
SD and 40 says Clayton's dream was to nap in Green Bay.
I swear, man, that's it. He just needs to pick the place.
Oh man! All right, that's it, guys. We're out of here. I'll tell you, I will say, Bay Square Park Mall.
Comfy chairs.
Pretty good little napping spot. Not gonna lie, man. Thing got about a 15-minute there.
He actually slid the two chairs together, laid out between them both, and I'm like over here, like, come on, like I'm bouncing between the stores,
Went
trying
over
to
the kiosk, bought a blanket.
get as much packaged stuff as I can.
All good. You hit the nail on the head, buddy. This show sucks. It does. We'll see y'all tonight for the live stream. Thank y'all so much. Hit like, hit share, subscribe to the channel. Also check out the Patreon group. It's the place to be. Y'all have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.